important, especially C or GCC. GCC or C++, the application. The many of the system or the program, they use the make. So if you are looking for the tutorial of the make, it's like the command actually it's almost language. Okay? Then there is this thick, the textbook, and not textbook, it's a tutorial book you can find. The make is very powerful. It's used a lot in the real application and project. Okay? Looks like it's simplified the compile and manage the application. Okay? It's not that simple actually. It's kind of almost a programming. Dynamic SQL. There are different types of the SQL. So we discuss about the architecture of the database programming, but the problem is, like for example, I'd like to implement the web application to return the employee. So then there's an option like the age and the name and the address and the submit. After submit, it will access the database and return the employee will be returned. So if you make this query as the select first name, last name from employee where age is 10 and the name is the ABC and address, let's say zip code. Zip code is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a query. This will be embedded and run, and return data will be returned over here. What if somebody do not select the address and zip code? You need to remove that, right? Which means you need to have another SQL query. What if user does not select the name? You need to make another query. It's not convenient, right? You need to make all the different cases. So, to address that problem, kind of the simple, the convenient way, by considering the option, you can generate the SQL. How can we do that? We can do like the age is null or not. If not, skip. If not, else, you can make the SQL string and append plus the age is equal to this input value 10. You can add, assemble based on the query. This is called dynamic SQL, dynamic query. So most of the database programming is a dynamic SQL. So in your project, you can start from the static query. Static query means it's not changing. It's a fixed query. But based on the option, okay, you can make the dynamic query. How can we make the dynamic query? We can actually, instead of such the static query, this is a static query. You can assemble using the option if then else. Okay, you can assemble the query string. So this is most of the database programming use such a dynamic SQL example. Dynamic SQL. The library or API level, like the Java, JDBC, and so on. So you can take a look at more details on each one, but this is the one example, the JDBC. Okay, so one example is. So you can see the first connection part. So URL and the username and password. So you can send the statement that this query will be sent. So always connect, send the query, and process. This one is the set of the data. So it's always a result set. So one by one we will process. After that, we will exit. Okay? So this is the database. The last one is the stored procedure. For the stored procedure, so there are two types of stored procedure. One is the procedure, another one is a function. Quick question. What is the difference between the function and the procedure? Both of them have input. But function has always output. Input and output. Y equal f of x, function. There is an input x, there is an output y. Procedure is nothing but procedure. There is no output. So there are two types of such as stored procedure. One is a create procedure. You can create, there's input, there's no output. You can do whatever you want inside. On the other hand, the function, where's the function? Function is not here. Function, there is the create the function, an input and output parameter, and return the output, just like the function you are using in the program. So this is the stored procedure. Keep in mind, stored procedure is not running on your computer, not web server. It's on the server side. So database administrator manage it, monitor such as server side. It can be overhead sometimes. So you can use the create procedure. You can use the if then else, while loop, for loop, and any the conditional statement. You can use loop and create function. It has the return value, the return, the type, and the return value. Right. So this is one example. Begin and end. Return the maximum number, student number, highest student number from the database. You can make them more complicated. Cursor, we already talked about the cursor. Okay, that's it. Usually, to learn the SQL and the PL/SQL database programming, at least 4 weeks, and sometimes 6 weeks. If you go to the kind of educational center or the IT, the academic, it takes 4 to 6 weeks. But we did within a week. That doesn't mean you can ignore the such a thing, because we learned about the fundamental of the database model, like the relational model, relational algebra, and the relational calculus, and so on. So on top of that, you can easily practice by yourself. So also, please use a lot the exercise lab document. It's 100 pages. It's not. It condenses most of the important practice. Please practice. Based on that, then you can do the database project. So some of the students, I know, the complaint, I'd like to learn the SQL. Unfortunately, I'm not teaching the SQL in this class. If this is kind of the private institution in the Oracle or the Microsoft or certificate class, I'd like to teach. But this is not such a class. I believe you are able to learn by yourself after you take my class to understand the concept and the algorithm of the database. Which means later, who knows, you are going to use Informix after graduation or the non-SQL. Still, you are able to understand and catch up easily because it's kind of the one example. So MySQL is one example. So that means you need to spend your own time to learn the practical part of the SQL. Any question? So we are going to have the exam on the October 25th, the Wednesday. In this classroom, it's not online based, it's a paper based exam. It will cover up to the database programming. But I'm not going to ask the detailed, the programming coding, no. However, I'm going to ask, for example, retrieve the first name and last name of employee. Then you are able to make the relational algebra as well as the SQL. Regarding to the SQL, basic rule is if I copy and paste your answer to the MySQL database, if it returns the correct data, it's okay. Which means there are a bunch of different ways, but at least follow the basic. But I'm not going to use the latest standard, just the standard, SQL 2 standard. So which means you don't have to worry about too much details. The syntax like that. If you take a look at the SQL, the syntax is this much thick. You don't have to memorize all of this. Just the basic that you learn in the exercise lab. Okay. Then from the chapter 1 through the number of chapters that we covered so far will be covered. Okay. But if you regularly took my class lecture, you can easily answer the most of them. 60% will be the multiple choices, and the 40%, if I'm lazy, I will make the open-ended question, but roughly the 40% is the open-ended question, which means like the relational algebra, and definitely I can answer the ER diagram and converting to the relational schema, okay, and then the relational algebra and the SQL part will be already 4 questions. It's too narrow, so please study. But the major part is the primary material is the textbook. Okay, not rely on I memorize all the query on PPT file, so you don't have to memorize the query, understand, and practice with the exercise lab. Then even the ER diagram and a relational schema diagram, if you understand the concept, pretty much easily you can answer. Okay, thanks so much. We will see on Wednesday, the Monday, the next week. Then we will have the midterm on the Wednesday.